What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Serious Angler Podcast, where your main course for this podcast is going to be everything bass fishing and a whole bunch of sides of tangents, rabbit holes, anything else under the sun that we want to talk about. But appreciate you guys for joining the show. We are joined with obviously co-host of the captain, the Bassin captain, Mr. Andy Full. And as always, I'm your host, Bailey Egbrett, trying to spice up this show a little bit more for you guys, make it more interesting, especially now that there are a million different podcasts out there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Before we get into today's show, hopefully listen to the recent one we did with Nick Dumke and Easton Fothergill, potentially one of the best college duos ever in college bass fishing, at least to date. In today's show, we have the 2024 U.S. Open champion, as well as Bassmaster Elite Series pro Bryant Smith. Got a great show ahead for you guys. Before you do, check out the links below if you want to go save some big money on Omnia Fishing for fishing tackle, rods, reels. Now's the time to save, especially with Black Friday coming up. This is the month of savings. So many different options. So make sure you guys check them out down below. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and let's get into today's episode. All right, we are back, and we are back for part 2 of our live show tonight. We are joined by the recent U.S. Open champ, Mr. Bryant Smith. What's going on, bro?
What's happening, guys?
I appreciate you letting me throw you to the wolves there. Well, I guess you didn't really let me. You kind of just had no choice. I just kind of tossed you into the ringer
there. That's all right. Yeah, we didn't have like the following of college angling as like there is back east. So I never did it, and I never really kind of followed it. You know, I know the big names like Easton and Jordan Lee and all, but like the big names, but I never really followed the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I was telling them too, like I don't even know when it started. Like I guess I don't really know a fresh history on it, or I feel like it definitely boomed at some point or in popularity, especially like with like high school fishing too. Like that, I feel like just went from 0 to 180 or 0 to 100, excuse me, like of popularity. Like it just 1 year was gaining some steam and then just exploded because now it's like what 400 plus teams for the championships. It's some ridiculous number.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. It's awesome to see. I mean, that's what this sport needs. We need a lot of anglers in it, to make it happen. So it's cool to see that there's a bunch of young guys getting into this sport like this.
Yeah. Are there college teams popping up out west?
I mean, there's a handful of them that take it pretty seriously, but for the most part, it's nothing like you're going to see back east with Bethel and Montebello and all those big name ones. But there's some hardcore college anglers for sure.
Yeah, well, I imagine if they're probably either going to school out east, but I imagine like trying to do it out west. The travel is probably hard enough for you guys on the top tour versus these college kids trying to drive that many hours out east to where the majority of the tournaments are occurring. That's probably hard enough in itself from a financial standpoint, but
for sure. Yeah, I know all too well how much it costs to drive from New York to California. So I can't imagine doing that on a college budget.
Yeah, well, and it's obviously we got into the weeds pretty quick here, but congrats again, dude, on the freaking dub, the U.S. Open dub.
Thank you, man.
Of course, yeah, dude, great episode last week. Or sorry, was it 2 weeks ago? So last week?
Yeah, it was last week. Yeah,
last week. Biz from the Bass Boat, you and Deacon, you guys did a full deep dive on all of that and the impacts of winning the U.S. Open, because a lot of guys talk about that. Like they put that in the ringer of the events that they want to or would want to have on their resume. There's the Classic. There's an AOY. There's a lot of people that say, I want a U.S. Open win. And so you already got one.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I don't know if it's still, I don't think it's still sunk in, but yeah, it's been really cool. Billy's worked really hard to kind of take it from, because it is the West Coast Classic. It's the biggest tournament that we will ever have on the West Coast for sure. And it's always been that way, but Billy's really done a great job at kind of bringing national attention to it, because it really was a regional deal for the longest time. And now, I've gotten texts from so many guys around the country congratulating me on it, and they know what the tournament is, and I've had a lot of guys be like, yeah, I'm fishing that tournament next year, whether from Tennessee or Alabama, Texas, it's pretty cool to see how big that tournament's gotten.
It's impressive, man. And it's one where I think, to your point with Billy and what he's done, it, regardless of winning or not, success or not, you hear guys walk away from it just from the experience. I think
Yeah.
that's a credit to One Bass and them for how they put on that event, and obviously preaching to the choir of somebody that's actually fished it. It's how does that stat? Well, actually, I can't ask you that yet because I can ask you in March when you fish your first Bassmaster Classic. But it's
No, I fished Classic this year. It's obviously the Classic's huge and it's got much more going on behind the scenes. But as far as the show goes, it's just as exciting, especially for me being a West Coast guy, because that tournament means a ton to me. So it's special in its own way. Nothing will ever top the Classic. Like that was by far the coolest experience I've ever had in a bass fishing tournament. But you know, for just where I come from, it's definitely a special event.
a little bit more pride in from a regionality standpoint.
For sure, for sure.
Well, forgive me for being a numbnuts and forgetting that you fish this past.
That's all good, man. All good.
I'm sure I'm gonna
Uh,
get a call from Boomer after that.
He'll probably say, "Good job." Like,
oh, he will. Oh, he'll be proud of you for that one.
Yeah. Hey, I think that's a testament, though. That is one thing I do appreciate. One about Boomer, but also about just good people in this sport. Which you're one of them. Is your guys' relationship? I think is awesome, and I think that's how. I think that's how successful
It's something.
people
I
are.
don't know. Awesome's a good word for it. It's something.
Maybe like you guys would be like brothers, if anything else, with the way you guys
Pretty
interact
much.
with each other. But it's
Pretty
a
much.
good thing though. Like that's how I feel like these brand partnerships should emulate, where it's one, the comfortability, the trust with the you guys have in each other. Obviously, you're putting your brand out there and attributing your brand with Alpha Angler, and Boomer obviously has the trust in you and who you are as a person, but not just as an angler. And I think obviously you guys have a great team in regards to you, BP, and Burge, and I'm trying to remember who else might be on that roster right now. But it's like it's cool to see how that all works. I think that's a dynamic that I think is underappreciated, is those relationships when it comes to angler and brand. I think that's something cool, and I wanted to give kudos to that. But now we got to make fun of Boomer because I talked about him too nice.
Oh, let me at him. Let me at him. I can't say half the stuff I want to, but yeah, I can't and get away with it, I guess I should say.
you can get away with it. It's fine.
It's not live.
Secret,
it's not live right now. We can edit it out.
He's not watching.
Yeah. The secret's safe with the internet. That's perfect.
That's right.
No, that is a cool thing, and that's something pretty special when you do get a relationship like that, where you just become like really good friends with somebody that you work for and work with. It's not as common as it used to be. So to have a lot of I have quite a few relationships like that where I genuinely feel like the companies care about me, and obviously I put in as much work as I possibly can for them. So to have it go both ways and not just be a name on a spreadsheet or something like that, with how corporate the world is getting, it's pretty cool to have that personal relationship.
Yeah, and it goes a long way. And I think, the previous guests that we just had on here with Easton mentioning that when the college ranks, how those the rules meetings and how a decent, I mean, I'd be probably one of them where it's just like, oh god, these freaking rules meetings, like it's just a waste of my time, yada yada, disgruntled. And how he mentioned it's a great time to go meet people at the brands and create the relationship. I think that's something that really stood out to me, that he mentioned, where it's people aren't joking. It's not just a fire off a DM, hope for the best, hope that you can strike up a deal with somebody and do whatever. There is a legitimate backing behind making the time to go to the classic, go to if you can get to ICAST, if you can get to these different events where it's you can go shake a hand and introduce yourself in person and actually have a conversation. That goes way longer of a way than an email introducing yourself.
For sure, like 100%. And the cool thing is a lot of companies, at least from my personal experience, a lot of the companies that I work with now, I've had the good fortune to meet the people that run and make those decisions about who's going to represent their brands. I've had this, I've gotten pretty lucky where I've met these people and I've developed a relationship with a lot of them before we ever even started talking about making a deal. Jake's a perfect example. He came up to me at a tournament probably 6 or 7 years ago out on the West Coast. I was like one of the only guys from California to travel up to the Columbia River. And he came up, shook my hand, said, "Hey, I'm Jake Boomer. Appreciate you coming up here." And, you don't think anything of those relationships when they start. And then, 3-4 years later, I'm using his rods, working for him. So that's a pretty cool deal when it works out that way. And that's something that I try to tell, you get a lot of questions about how do I get sponsors. That's always the thing. That's how I was when I was a kid. How do I go about this? And developing the relationship before you ever, send in a proposal or anything like that. When they already know who you are and have met you a few times and know what you're all about before then, I think that goes so much further than, like you said, sending an email or sending a DM to some of these people.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. Like, this industry's small. People talk. Your reputation kind of get around too, where it can work in both ways. Where if you take the time, build a relationship with somebody, you're respectful. Like what you're talking about, you're not just leading with the money conversation right away. Where even if it doesn't work out there, somebody else from another brand, like these brands talk.
They all know each other.
They all know each other. We're like, hey, we're talking with this Bryant Smith guy. You know anything about him? I'm like, oh, dude, he kind of sucked, man. He was kind of a jerk. It's that or go the complete opposite. It's like, you know what? Like, we couldn't work out a deal with him, but really nice guy, growing, social, whatever it might be. If you have that in a positive light, these things come around, and that's the whole cliche saying of be nice to everybody, because you never know when the random person that you're not nice to might be the boss of the job that you want or whatever it may be. It's so freaking true. It doesn't hurt to. Yeah.
It absolutely is, and to reiterate that point, I've had a couple companies who I just started working with, and they asked around, and I couldn't believe, like they asked competitors, like just because they all know each other, and they say, have you heard anything about this guy? Have you talked to him? How was he when he worked with you? All that stuff. And you definitely, I always try to be as professional as possible. I never say no to anything they ask. And I think that's the reason why I do have that great group of people and companies behind me supporting me, is because, I've always tried to do it the right way.
They must not have called Boomer.
No, I do not get. He is not one of the ones I put down as a reference.
Yeah.
He's on the do not call list.
Absolutely.
Hey, can you tell us about Bryant? Oh, he sucks.
He's a terrible person.
He's the biggest pain in my butt that I've ever had work for me. He's terrible. Yeah, he would go on and on.
He likes beer way too much. Like
he drinks at corporate functions. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, I definitely want to touch on the US Open a little bit, but I do urge people, I'll put it down in the show notes for folks that want to go and listen to it more in depth. But I don't want to fully reiterate everything that you guys already talked about on Just from the Bass Boat. But I'll link that down if people want to go listen to that, and I definitely urge them to. But in regards to your dub, where I guess in how you won going into the event, did you think that's how you're going to win this event? Like, did things go to plan, or were there adjustments made?
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence fishing that place last year, and I ended up in third last year, super close to winning it. And it was just, it's one of those lakes where it just clicks with me. Um, I don't have a ton of experience there. Before last year, I'd only been on the lake one time, and it was in February. So I basically knew what it looked like. That was about it.
Mm.
But after last year fishing it, um, it was definitely a place where I felt like if everything went right, I could definitely win there. So going into it this year, um, I had a ton of confidence, and I'm not the one that usually goes out and says, you know, I'm going to go win this thing. But I did. I told a couple of my really close friends, like, I'm going to win this thing. You know, I'm going to do everything I can to win this thing. And this is the one where I think I do have a real shot. And then, of course, my son, he was, I don't know if you heard that story, but he was walking around, I think the day before or the day I left. And my wife calls me the day after the first day of practice and says, "You'll never believe what Jensen's saying." I'm like, "What is he saying?" Dad, that win. So it was like, it was one of those things where, okay, I think I can really do this here. I think I can make this happen. You know, any tournament win, you have to have a lot of things go your way. And I did. I had a lot of things, you know, weird things happen where you're just like, that usually doesn't happen in a just, you know, a good finish tournament. That happens when you win. And a lot of little things like that happened. A lot of things went my way. Um, Even when something didn't go my way, you know, if I broke off a fish or screwed up a fish, how, you know, I would still, it wouldn't bother me. It would be like, okay, that sucked, but we need to go get the next one. Whereas, you know, in other tournaments, I maybe I wouldn't have the confidence to say something like that where it wouldn't bother me because I'm not on the winning fish. But yeah, going into that one, and especially after practice, I knew I was on the fish to win. I just knew I needed to get them in the boat.
How many bites a day were you getting in the
So
tournament?
yeah, in the tournament, the first day was really good. And if you're not familiar with desert fishing, pressure affects those fish like it seems tenfold. So I knew it would get steadily tougher throughout the tournament. And the first day I probably, you know, 20 fish. The second day, and that was my short day. I was doing it 3:30. The second day I had a really long day. I think I wasn't doing until 5:20, and I got about the same amount of bites, but you know, I had an extra 2 hours. A lot of people got off, you know, were out of the way by the time they started biting in the afternoon. But I definitely could tell just by the number of fish I was throwing at that they were not biting as well. And then the third day, we maybe caught 10, 12 fish, but they were definitely the right ones. But again, it was one of those deals where I threw at a ton of them, and they were super hard to catch. It was just a numbers game for me. That's the way I've always done that. Um, and I mean, I'm throwing at the same amount of fish every day, I feel like, but it's just the number of bites, the ones that you can convert, get them to bite, just go down and down and down throughout the tournament.
How many different so we've heard this talked about a few times, and obviously we've experienced it too, where just because you have forward facing, which Andy, I'll add another dollar to the jar, doesn't mean you're doesn't mean you're guaranteed to catch them. You always hear like they're hard to catch.
Mhm.
You good over there, Andy?
Yeah, I just spilled my beer.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have
That's a
another one, but
boomer move right there.
I hit it with my hand. I'll be
already
right
foul.
back in a second. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So with that, I'm curious because when people talk about, I know they're chasing it, they won't commit, things like that.
Mhm.
How many bait cycles will you go through before you completely just ditch them and go on to the next fish?
Um, you know, that's super situational. I think there's certain situations where you can throw 5, 6, 7 baits at the same fish and find the one that they want to bite. This was not the case at all. it's smallmouth fishing. So when I'm smallmouth fishing, you pretty much either throw a drop shot or a Ned rig. When they're on the bottom like that, those are my two go-tos for sure. And I just, with the way they were set up around the grass clumps, I didn't want the Ned rig to go into the grass and then just totally lose it. So it was
Yeah.
a drop shot the whole time. And that was just, in my eyes, the most effective way to catch them. So it would be one cast, maybe two casts at a fish if they reacted the way I wanted them to. But other than that, it was just shots on goal. More shots on goal, the more fish I can throw at, I felt like the more chances I would have at just catching them.
What was the bait of choice for the drop shot for you?
It was the striking half shell. That's always been my bait of choice up there. There's a lot of great worms like that, and that one's always done really well for me just because of how subtle I think it is.
Mhm.
I talked about this earlier today actually with a buddy of mine, and we've never, going back before forward facing, you had to use a bait that attracted the fish to them. Whereas now, when we're throwing at a fish, we're dropping it on his head, near his head, within his eyesight. We don't have to draw him in. You actually don't even have to worry about the whole attraction part of it. You just have to worry about the getting them to eat things. So that's why I think that it's a super small bait. I always throw a translucent color, just something really, really natural.
Yeah.
So all I'm worried about is getting them to bite. That's what I want. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. I know I'm dropping it on its head. So just getting them to bite is my biggest thing. And that's the bait that I've had a ton of success with over the past 3 years. And it's a bait that I have a ton of confidence in.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. And are you dabbling with any scents and stuff mixed in with that? Be it bait fuel, any of the powder, all that stuff?
Yeah, I will. I do the bait fuel. But only as I see it get tougher. I've never been you have to put a scent on your bait every single time. Um,
You're not the
you know,
Tupperware powder Taco's doing where he's shaking it.
no, maybe I would win more like Taco if I did it, but it's situational for me. If I see them, rejecting the bait when I throw at them, or they're biting it super quick and spitting it out, that's when I tend to go to scents. But I'm not. If it comes with it, cool. If it doesn't, I'm not too worried about it.
I'm with you. That's been one thing. I know Andy's been dabbling, and we won't try to let too many cats out of the bag, but it's cool when you see things that do work, or it might not even be the scent itself, or like bait fuel. I feel like the biggest thing for me is I think they see a slick, and where I see it, anytime I've seen it's been effective, I think they see that slick. I don't know, I could be wrong,
That's
but
interesting.
I'm curious from your stand. Do you think it's actually the scent from bait fuel they're interested in, or do you think
So
it's a image thing?
yeah, I mean, from what I was explained, they engineered bait fuel to actually work correctly. It's way scientific, way over my head. But from what I was told, kind of the watered down version was a lot of scents don't actually work because the molecules are too big to actually get in the fish's nose and his scent receptors, I guess. And I could be way off. This is just what I was told. But
Sounds
bait
on point.
fuel, yeah, bait fuel is actually it actually goes and they can actually smell it. So, it made sense to me. I don't know if it was a sales pitch or what, but it made sense to me. So I bought some, and yeah, no, there's no doubt that um, when they are finicky like that, I think you do get an extra few bites a day, and they hold on to it longer. But it's not something that I'm, religious about. Put it on every single time without question. It's definitely situational for me.
I find scent funny in the fact, like, if you're catching them right without scent and all of a sudden the bite gets hard, now you start scrambling when you have like 10 different scents in your boat and you're like, which
Yeah.
one do I use? And you throw it, like, he doesn't move, he doesn't move, he doesn't move. And all of a sudden one bites, you're like, that's it. And then you throw it the rest of the day and you don't get a single fish to move.
Yeah.
And then you put the regular one back on, like you're like, I quit.
I give up. I give up. They're smarter than me today. That's all I chuck it up to.
Most days.
Yeah.
Most days.
That's awesome. But dude, so beyond the win, I know you had some cool experiences, like the Smallies following the catfish story.
Yeah.
That was super freaking cool. But beyond the win itself, any big takeaways or cool stories that come out of that win, the US Open?
The coolest thing was just the amount of people that I had no idea cared about what I did fishing. Just the outpouring of support and congratulations and all the messages I've gotten, and I'm pretty sure I've gotten back to everybody. It took a few days, but that was the coolest thing, because I don't see myself as anything special. I just go out there and try to catch as many fish as I can, and hopefully they're the biggest ones that day. But the people that support me and are behind me, man, that really meant the world to me, and that's what it's all about for sure. Because you can't do it without support. It's a single person. It's a very you are the only person on the team when you're in the competition, but there's a ton of people behind you, and that was by far the coolest thing.
It's very and I love that you say that, and I wish that could ring louder of just how many people are actually paying attention. Like, they don't need to be texting you, calling you, being in your DMs, liking your post, whatever, to be following you. There's a lot of eyes on you. I think some people might not realize that there's a lot of eyes on you. You might not realize it. That's cool to see when they come out of the woodwork like that, man, especially from a supportive standpoint, especially in a time where people like to be bickering back and forth. I think those moments are hard to, those are the hardest moments to slow down the clock. And it's ones that are most important to slow down the clock.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was cool. It was refreshing, to get away from the negativity that has kind of been surrounding this whole industry for so long. It was a nice little break from all that, and man, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. But dude, I'm so happy for you, man. I mean, we told the guys, we were so hyped after the first day and we saw you right there. We're like, dude, pull this thing out. Like, come on, like 2 more days.
Yeah, I know.
I texted Boomer each day. I tried not to text you besides the night before, just as like a good luck. But I was texting Boomer. I'm like, is he gonna pull this thing off or what? I'm like, what do you know? It's like, tell us, spill the beans. Like, what do you know? We were all pretty hyped for you, man. So it's
Boomer,
you got that notch in the belt. Now you just need your kiddo to start saying that in March down in Texas.
Dude, yeah. Between him saying that and you guys got the good juju of scheduling guys and having them win. I'm in. Like, we gotta. I'm gonna start. Hey, I got a tournament coming up. It's Okeechobee. You want to have a podcast real quick? Like 10 seconds. I don't even care. Just put something on the books. Like, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we'll book you down a week before the Classic. Let's go. I mean, it worked for Hamner. I mean, granted, Hamner did like a podcast tour before the Classic and said on every single one that he was going to win. Well, I think that's just his mentality. I don't even know. That's just him, his charisma.
Sometimes you have to speak it into existence, right? Like,
he did.
To accomplish a goal, you got to be head set on accomplishing that goal, and it's going to happen.
So. He did. Yeah, that was really cool. He and I, we talked every night of that practice and the tournament. And I remember calling him. And I didn't think he would answer, because I mean, I couldn't imagine the media stuff after that turn, after leading the Classic. I have no idea what you would have to go through, but I have a feeling his phone was going pretty hard, and he answered, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're leading the Bassmaster Classic. And all he says is, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going. Yeah. I was so pumped to see him win it. Like, it was really nice to see, a guy that I think everybody roots for win that thing.
It was like it felt like another Gussie win.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Really cool.
I mean, they're all great champions, but I mean, there are definitely if you can't be the one winning it, you definitely have your guys that you're like, yeah, I want to see him win it. So that was awesome.
Well, dude, I hope that's you in March, man. I'm telling you what, I hope that's you in March. We'll leave it at that. We'll save the good juju for the week before when we get you on the show. How about that?
I mean, not to call you out again, but that would be pretty hard because I'll be working the show this year.
Oh, son of a dude, I suck. Andy, you take over. Andy, you take over.
I'm just letting you crash and burn over here, buddy. Sorry.
I don't want to get everybody excited and be like, "Where's Bryant? He's not even on there."
You're
this is we were talking about with Easton and Nick. This is why I need to do a better job of homework because I could have sworn you were like 30 in the points.
No, this was a rough year for me. It's so weird how you can have momentum going like that over the past, like even fishing the MPFL the past 2 years, qualifying the first year, last year, like making the classic. It wasn't easy, obviously, but it just kind of happens. And then this year, like it felt like I just could not do anything right. It was just a weird year, and I was really, to have the win at the U.S. Open, and then at the end of the season, after a tough season, it really I'm hoping I can ride this momentum, and then we can be talking next year about what we're going to be doing in March because we'll be fishing the Classic.
Yeah, that there we go. Next, I meant 2026, man. I meant 2026.
I love it. I'm in. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in.
I do apologize, man. Forgive me.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good.
But that means just we can have we're gonna have potential, very strong chance a Serious Angler Airbnb house. So you're more than welcome to come bruise on us to make up for me being a jerk.
That sounds like a party.
It does. Yeah, Boomer's not invited. Boomer's not invited.
Oh, okay, good. No, we're in. Yeah. We're in. That's awesome. Are you guys doing a podcast at the Classic?
Hell yeah, we are.
Okay, I want
it.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, it could be a roast session. You can give back.
I'm in. That would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
We'll count you in for that one, buddy, for sure.
Cool. Cool.
Well, dude, one of the things I wanted to ask you, especially with we start off with Easton here, going in, and I feel like you've had, I think a great start in regards to, obviously we just talked about not making Classic this year, but I think overall, like making the Classic last year, biggest bag of smallmouth in Elite Series history. Like you've had some really well-rounded positives in your Elite Series career for a rookie. Brand new at Elite Series, of course, coming off of a very hot open season. Like I told him before, I'm like, the pressure's on for you now because you had such a good open season that the expectations are high. But what advice would you have for him coming in for his first year?
Like, I think he's going to be just fine. Like, he is. I've been watching how he fishes and watching his career for the past couple of years now, and he's just one of those guys that's just always consistent. There'll be the butterflies. Everybody gets the butterflies at the first tournament, but after you make that first cast, like I think he's going to be just fine. I always just try to remind myself that it's a big show. It's the stage you want to be on. It's the dream job to be on the Elite Series, but it always just boils down to you're just going fishing. And if he gets that down and he gets comfortable, it's gonna be ugly. The Elite Series is getting so incredibly hard now with all these guys coming in who are absolute killers. It's I would hate to see this thing in 5 years. I mean, I hope I'm still there, but good Lord, it is going to be like everybody's going to be the guy where like you get this group of 9 guys that comes in. You're like, well, there's another 9 top 50 checks gone. Like soon we're going to be like, well, who's not getting a check? Because everybody here is very good. So, as long as he just keeps his head on right and just does his thing, I think he's going to be just fine. Just like all those guys. Like those guys know how to fish so good. It's just kind of not ignoring, but kind of putting all the big show behind you and just going out there and doing your job. That's all it is.
getting past the shock factor of, like he was saying, being lined up next to Polinick or whomever, going out tournament morning. Like if you can get past those jitters, then you'd be all right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Once you get past that, you're good to go. You are good to go.
Sense. Yeah. Do we have a really good question here? Going back quick to the Western Opens here from Mr. Higgs. He's asking, is there a difference between the environment from bass to the one bass during the Derby days between the anglers?
Not really. Everybody's there to go just fish. I mean, it's not as serious, I guess. I was always the first one on the water and the last one off the water. And, on the Elite Series, it's definitely where I am never that guy. I try to be that guy, but there's always guys that are there earlier and stay later. It's definitely a little more laid back than the Elite Series, but I mean, the competition's really, really good. I would just say that, the intensity is probably just a little bit less.
I get you. Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier, like you just look at standings of who was in that, and it's stout. Extremely stout. And it's cool that you mentioned earlier though, like how there's some more names of other people that reached out, said congrats, but want to get in on it this year. And it's cool to see some new names that venture over, that go and try and fish it. Bertrand was trying last week to get Andy and I to come fish it as co-anglers next year, which I think we should do that for sure.
You got to do it. Yeah. The shared weight thing is so cool too. If you guys show up as co-anglers, because you guys are a team, like you get teamed up with your pro and there's no backseating. Like I don't care how it works out. If my co-angler catches all the fish that day, I'm going to tell everybody that he caught all the fish, and I am damn proud of him for doing it. I netted every single one of them. I got no pride, man. That's the coolest part about that tournament.
What's that, Andy?
I said, does the co-angler get to stand up there on the front deck with you too, or is he got to be in the back?
If they want to, yeah. If they want to. I don't know what happened to my headphones, but now they're not working, of course.
Probably
I can hear you guys. Let me see. Technical difficulties.
Gotta love that part, huh? We get the beautiful up close of Bryant's face.
Oh yeah, you're getting up close because now I can hear you a little bit better.
The straight nostril shot.
I love it.
Is it?
Here we go.
Ooh, that's a good one.
There we go. This is what the phone must see when you're trying to take a selfie.
You can see my terribly organized garage right now.
Honestly, I was expecting a bigger bait wall out of you, Bryant.
Well, it's still all in boxes is the problem. Like I haven't taken anything out of my boxes. Like I just been grabbing and going. Like it's all over. It's in those black and yellow totes just scattered about the whole place right now. And I have a bunch still in my truck. Like I did not do a very good job of getting home and reorganizing everything. It is like somebody took a bomb and threw it into the center of my boat, and it's just there is stuff everywhere right now. It's driving me nuts, but
happens.
We're trying to soak in the wind, so we're gonna let that go for a little while longer.
Yeah, I guess it's the question: are you gonna keep the same boat now that you want it out of it, or you got a new boat on the way?
So it's actually pretty cool. We're gonna keep this one, and we're going to use this one for the BAM Super 60 next year on the West Coast. So I'll be fishing all those next year. And then we got the new boat going to the Bass Tank, the new Skeeter going to the Bass Tank sometime soon. And that'll be the tour boat. So we'll have the West Coast boat and we'll have the back East boat.
You can rip all the decals off for the West Coast boat so guys can't follow you around.
I thought about doing that too in the U.S. Open, but I didn't do it. No, we're gonna run it. We're gonna run it. It's pretty cool what Mark has going with that Super 60. It's just like a mini Elite Series. You got to have a wrap boat, all that good stuff. So we're gonna run it. We're gonna run the all the companies that support me proudly, and hopefully we can get it done next year.
Heck yeah, dude. I know. So our Mr. Deacon over at Business from the Bass Boat is fishing that next year. We should this will be the test on how many episodes he listens to on Serious Angler, because
Oh boy,
we should order some custom stickers that we put on your boat where it's making fun of him to see if he's snooping on your stuff next year.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
That's
something
awesome.
simple like Business from the Bass Boat sucks, or Deacon sucks, or whatever. That we
Just
can
put Sheekin down the side of the boat.
Sheekin, yeah. There you go.
I'll hide them in all my
binoculars.
rod lockers, and then if I know, we'll know if he's been snooping inside the rod lockers and looking
Just
around.
put one right at your console by your grass, so you know if he's snooping your waypoints or not.
All right, you guys make one. I will put it on there.
We'll definitely do that. We'll get the Sheekin stickers going. We already got people asking for it for fantasy fishing. Boomer has coined Deacon's name as Sheekin.
It's gonna be trademarked soon.
Yeah, and we have a we're gonna have a Sheekin award this next year for fantasy, and it's the biggest loser each week gets the Sheekin award. This is Boomer's doing. He brings the spice to the fantasy fishing group. That's for sure.
I hope you guys are texting everybody on the Elite Series, trying to get the info of who's on them, who's off them, like he is, because he's trying to get some insider trading info. Oh yeah. I always get a text. Are you on them? Who's on them? Who's doing what?
Well, shoot, maybe that's why. You can blame your season this past year on him, because he took you for every event.
I might blame him for that one. Yeah, he jinxed me.
I think you should, because he always said, he goes, if he doesn't catch him, I'm gonna be pissed at him. I'm gonna let him have it.
He's fired.
And this is about the time in the podcast when he's gonna pause it, and I'm gonna get a very angry phone call. We'll see. We'll see who of the three gets called first from Boomer out of this show.
Definitely won't be me.
Yeah, if he's pissed, it'll be me. It'll be me.
I
always get those phone calls for some reason. What are you doing? Why aren't you doing anything? Blah blah blah. Every time.
And then he'll tell you how busy he is.
Oh yeah, I gotta go. I'm busy. I got 10 more phone calls I gotta make. I just want to give you a bunch of crap. All right, see you later.
Hey, at least he calls.
Hey, no, yeah, I appreciate you working me in to your busy schedule to give me your 5-minute lecture of how I'm an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Hey, yeah.
It's a great soundboard clip.
It's funny. The Grinch. I'm an idiot.
You're an idiot.
So good.
That's awesome.
Well, speaking of that, dude. Speaking about, sorry, Andy, go ahead.
I say you just always had to repeat it. Like it's just one of those things.
Oh yeah.
I got a soundboard filled with Grinch. Oh, not that one. Nope,
just filled.
Almost lost my cool there.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you guys even hear that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's we got. Speaking of that, that's a Christmas show coming up for you folks tuning in. We're trying to make it a whole spectacle like we did last year. We're trying to bring back the Santa suit fishing that Andy and I did. We need to bring that back. We did that. Was it 2 years ago, Andy?
No, longer. 3
years ago.
3.
Bryant, we went out and decided we were going to do a shoot for Hobie Eyewear. We're going to basically dress up in Santa suits, go on the Niagara River in the busiest part of the Niagara River, and go
should
catch
post that video again. That was wild.
Probably should.
Maybe in December.
We didn't realize it was going to be. We knew his fishing would be good. We didn't realize we'd catch like 26 pounds in 30 minutes.
Oh, no way.
Santa costumes.
Yeah. The car's honking at us the entire time because it's right next to a throughway. Right. It's hilarious. Yeah.
The question is, how many times did you go back fishing in Santa suits? Because clearly it worked.
We have
part of the pattern.
Just once.
Yeah, I think he
well.
Yeah.
It was interesting. We definitely need to do it again because it was hilarious. Yeah, I totally got completely off track there. But this brand conversation. Do you got anybody new lined up for next year?
Yeah, we got the Bass Tank next year. That's a pretty exciting one for me. Been talking to Scott over there, and I think we kind of align with where we're going and where we're trying to be. Really excited about that, especially because I've always been the guy that rigs my own boats, just because I like to know where everything is, how it works. If I need to fix something, which with my rigging ability, there is always something that needs to be fixed.
Same.
And yeah, we got a few inside jokes, me and my buddy, who he'll wrap my boat while I'm rigging it, and he's just giving me crap the whole time too. But yeah, the bass tank, they're gonna take care of me next year, get my whole boat rigged up. So that's really cool. I don't have to have the risks of fiberglass splinters for the first 2 months of the year, which will be really nice. And they're one of the leaders definitely in that whole rigging and doing it right, and it'll be nice and pretty. It won't look like crap like it usually does, and everything should work. Everything will work. So that's a pretty cool partnership we brought on this year.
Heck yeah,
Nice.
dude. I guess with the rule changes, what's the system you're going to be running electronics wise this year?
That's the cool thing about the setup I had last year. It's actually still legal. I had 4 Lowrance HDS 12s, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. I'll have to take off 1 active target transducer, but because I was running 2, 1 in perspective and then 1 forward. So we'll just be down to 1. But yeah, I actually might be able to add a little bit. I'm thinking about doing an HDS 16 up front for the forward facing stuff. So, but yeah, I'm good as far as being within the regulations we got going this year. So I'm excited. I'll have that level of comfort, and just be able to already know what I'm getting into. I don't have to make any adjustments. So that'll be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. For turnover. Yeah. It'll just reduce any learning curve, adjustment period type of deal, whatever you want to call it. That's good, man. So for there's gonna be some guys, I'm looking at like Bryant Smith with the 4 at the console. That's gonna be a big adjustment. He's probably, honestly, those guys are probably happy about that.
Oh, 100%. They just streamlined their whole boat for them, just right off the bat. Like it's not such a bad thing. I like the rules. I think it'll be really interesting to see how some of the guys who were really good and relied on 5 graphs or 6 or 7 or however many we're up to these days. I think it'll be really interesting to see how they adjust and how they end up rigging their boats with the regulations we got now. And a lot of the guys were using 2, 3, 4 forward facing sonar. So back to 1. I don't think that'll change much as far as results wise, but it'll be interesting to see the kind of how everybody kind of falls in line there.
Because guys are probably now, because you can't have it on transom, right? You can only have it up front.
Yeah, you can only have 1 on the trolling motor. Yep.
So guys are probably just gonna graph around with the trolling motor down, basically.
I was doing that for years. That was my favorite. Yeah, I was doing that when I had the top 10 at Champlain. That's how I found a lot of my fish. Was I would just leave the trolling motor down and zigzag on the big motor back and forth. And the cool thing about active target, I could see them out 150 feet, so I could actually stop the boat, kind of coast up to them, and then by the time I'm up on the front of the boat, they're right in range and make a cast. And then if they bite, cool. Go put them in the boat and then back down in the cockpit and idle around and try to find them again.
That's awesome. So are you just keeping it straight or using like the remote to like rotate?
I've tried them both. I've tried the remote and I've tried the just keeping it straight and zigzagging. And I don't know. I guess that's me being a little bit lazy. I think the remote's a little bit more efficient, but it's like, how much am I really missing out? And I can just idle back and forth. I don't have to worry about which way the trolling motor head's facing. Don't have to worry about burning up the motor, if that's even a thing, turning it back and forth against that kind of pressure at 5 miles an hour. So I just always kept it forward and just kind of turned a little bit left, turned a little bit right, back and forth. And I found plenty of fish that way. It worked out just fine.
Heck yeah. Dude, if you had to choose, this is total left field. If you had to choose one fishery for the elites to come out west to, what would be your first pick?
Clear Lake. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's on
it is
fire
that
again.
good. Right now, it's the best I've seen it fishing in probably almost 10 years. And it's always good. Like it's always, 22 to 25 bare minimum to win the tournament. But now it's taking uh like it took, I think he had 93 pounds for 3 days and he won the last tournament up there. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
BAM Pro-Am just Pro-Am tournament at Clear Lake. Yeah, he had 93 pounds. But the crazy thing is yeah, he won by quite a bit, but second place I still think had 87 pounds. Yeah,
Smashing it.
it's yeah. Over half the field had over 20. And it's been like that for multiple tournaments this year. Like there's been a couple team championships. Like it's unreal. I saw a guy post a picture the other day. He caught 4 for 35.
4 for 35.
Yeah. I mean, he caught more than that, but he took a photo with his best 4 because I'm pretty sure that's all he could hold up. And it was 4 for 35.
It's almost
it is
what,
wide
9 pound
open.
average almost.
Yeah. And I would love to see the elites out there. Just to see those guys absolutely smash them.
And one of the most iconic like swindle highlights comes from Clear Lake
Oh, yeah.
when he caught
Oh,
that
yeah.
I
giant.
got him.
Yeah.
I got her. I got her. Yeah,
Team
yeah,
Kennedy
yeah,
just
yeah.
throwing a swim bait.
Yeah, I
pulled
know
the
right
first
where that
time in
wall
his
is
life.
too. I know right where that wall is. Yeah, I've watched that probably. I mean, I'm a bass nerd, so when they came out here, I was all about it. And then to see the highlight reel and watch the show, dude, I've probably watched that hundreds of times.
Was that the same tournament that Velvic was it Byron Velvic was throwing the swim bait to and catching him, and Skeet was catching him on like
I think it
top
was
water?
Kennedy.
Well, I know
Yeah.
he
So
won
Velvic
throwing a swim
won
bait.
the next time they were there.
That's the one, yeah.
But yeah, it was Kennedy that won the one when Swindle had that one.
The Big
Yeah.
Mama. But
Yes.
because it was a Skeet Reese Byron Velvic battle, and Skeet was catching him on a gunfish, I think, if I remember correctly. And Velvic was throwing a swim bait.
Yeah. Yep. That
Was that
sounds
in
right.
2007?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Golden State Shootout in 2007.
That video has over 350,000 views on it.
Which
That's
one?
wild.
The Swindle?
The Clear Lake one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just literally the
Just
whole
imagine that being
OG
posted
reruns.
nowadays.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bass should repost those, honestly.
Oh,
As
100%.
like throwbacks, because people would eat them up. Because those are like when they made like the productions. That's when they didn't have the live coverage. It was pretty damn fun to watch. I still go back and watch them now and then.
Oh, I love watching all those.
Dude, it felt like a couple years ago, if not maybe like last year almost. Some people were saying that Clear Lake sucked. Not that maybe not sucked, but that it was hurting.
Yeah,
What
it was just off. It was just off. Yeah, Clear Lake's, it's a natural lake, so it only fills up on rainwater, and we don't get a lot of rain out here sometimes, so it went through a pretty bad drought. Let's see, 4 or 5 years ago, and usually the year after it fills back up, it's always kind of an adjustment period for, I think, the anglers and the fish. And I think that's what happened there. Was it's just that adjustment period from it going super low for there, which is like 10-foot low, to filling back up and being almost over full pool.
Yeah, and it got like that new lake effect too, because there's probably all kinds of new brush and
Yep.
So it's just heavily nutrient rich at the moment. Everything's popping off.
Yeah. It's, and like going back there after it filled back up, you didn't even recognize some of the spots because it'd been dry for so long that there was actually a lot of growth, a lot of willows and bushes that have grown while the water was so low. And now they're all in, 7 to 3 foot of water. So we have a whole bunch more habitat than we used to have there. And
That's
I think that
fantastic,
also really helped. Yep. That also really, really helped it. But yeah, that lake's fishing better than it has in a long time. And that would be a cool one. If I had a second one, it'd probably be Lake Shasta. just because
Oh,
that's
so
my
cool.
favorite spot of bass fishery. And it's just beautiful. Go there in January. I don't know how we would get 100 elite guys there in January, but that is my favorite place to fish in January and February in the winter. It's just, you catch 100 fish and you're always fishing for, any cast you can catch a 7, 8, 9 pound spot. So that's one of my favorite lakes that time of year.
It'd be wild to see them try to get there in January, because that is quite the trek going from east to west in those mountains.
Oh, there's no way. There's no way. You'd have to fly
especially now.
everybody out or something.
Yeah.
Especially now, like those Carolina boys have a whole 3-4 hour detour to get east to west.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about the Rockies. They already got snow on them.
Rockies, half of 80 would be closed going over there. It'd be a mess.
You probably have to go south through like Oklahoma and stuff, right?
Yeah, you'd have to go either on 40, go all the way across, and even 40 can suck. I got stuck in a snowstorm on 40 from Albuquerque all the way to Amarillo. Actually, past Amarillo one time. We were going 35 miles an hour the whole time.
Flagstaff too, right?
Yeah.
So like Flagstaff, I drove to Arizona when I was in middle school, and I remember the drive vividly. Like Flagstaff is like 8,700 feet above sea level,
way
right?
up there.
And there's no guardrails on the side of the thruway.
No,
it's insane.
They don't believe in those.
No,
those things.
No, the speed limit's I think like 75, at least it was back then, and guys are just ripping. I'm thinking to myself, if we mess up, we're dead. Like,
oh yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah, it's a little wild out there.
Yeah.
Wild West.
How often did you fly this year between events?
Every chance I could. So, in between every single event that wasn't a back-to-back, I would fly back home. Having a young son, I tried to be back home as often as I could. We even had that little, what was it? In between Wheeler and Smith, we had a week, or we had like 5 days, and I flew home for 3 of them. So it was every single chance I got, I was back home and spending time with them.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, even a 10-hour drive, it's probably easier just to fly.
Oh yeah.
Makes it a lot easier.
And when your minimum drive, like the closest lake on the schedule this year was Fork, and that's still 29 hours, almost 30 hours.
Gosh. What about next year? Have you clocked that out yet?
I try not to think about that because my first one's Okeechobee.
The
first one's Okeechobee, and Okeechobee is 52 hours of driving. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know how you
52 hours of just driving. That's no brakes, no gas stops. Like that is just wheels rolling. 52
it's 6
hours.
days. 6 days.
Yeah.
Dude,
I think I made it.
How do you mentally prepare for that? Do you just not listen to like any shows, anything to stockpile for like a month, or just?
I do. Yep. I do listen to a lot of podcasts during that, and I'll
a lot of phone calls.
I'll just start calling people. Like I just start going down the phone list. I haven't heard from you in 7 years. Let me call him, see what he's up to.
Hey, Jimmy, Bryant, I haven't heard from you since middle school, man.
Yeah, how are things? Yeah. You got some time to talk? I do.
I'm just outside Amarillo right now, cruising on the 40.
Yep.
See someone to talk to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
It's a lot of podcasts and a lot of phone calls. That's about the only way to get through one of those.
Who was the one that was watching like a TV show binge series like that we just had on recently?
No, that's Hamner.
Oh yeah.
Hamner, I think John Garrett said he does that too, but Hamner is notorious for saying he'll crush a Netflix series while he's driving.
Oh, I know. Because I'll call him when we're driving and he won't answer, and I'll know he's watching Netflix. So I'll call him again so it messes up his show. And he'll be like, "What do you want? I'm watching a show." And like, "Oh, I just wanted to talk. What are you doing?" Oh, he hates it. He hates it.
Dude, I started seeing there's this aftermarket product. They actually thought this was a good idea, and they put out even paid ads behind this thing. So they double down on this horrible idea, which part of it makes sense, but the logical person in me thinks it's stupid. There's a plugin now you can get for your CarPlay. So now you can have Netflix play on your CarPlay screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this legal?
Yeah,
Because this, I mean, maybe if it's for the backseat something like, but it's
there's some loophole there that they took advantage of, because that is, yeah. Although it would be very nice, that is so dangerous.
oh, you're waiting for something bad to happen, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Hamner will be the first one to tell you that's a dumb idea that he watches it, but he ain't gonna stop.
No, he ain't gonna stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
But besides fishing podcasts, what category, if any, do you dabble in podcast wise?
Dude, it's just fishing for me.
Just fishing.
Yeah, I'm not really into anything but fishing. I'm such a bass nerd. Like, I could just listen to anything fishing related. And if I run out of stuff, I just start re-listening to stuff.
Oh, like going back over in case you like
Oh,
miss
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
or just because you're bored.
Yeah, yeah. It's there's so much information thrown out at in all these podcasts. You can never grab a hold of everything on the first go. So, like, if it's somebody I really like listening to, I'll listen to their videos 3 or 4 times just to make sure, I got absolutely everything that they gave out in those shows.
Dang, that's dedication, dude. That's for dang sure.
I'm a bass nerd, man.
When you have 52 hours on the road,
Yeah,
straight,
that's fair enough. That's fair.
not much better to do.
Yeah,
That's fair.
exactly.
There's sometimes I like to dabble with like a total left field Joe Rogan guest that's like some medical professional that I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see how many words I understand in this show. That's how long I can go. It doesn't last long. But I get down some other rabbit holes. Like he brings on these guys that are like extraterrestrial experts, and I'm like, this is gonna be freaky. Like let's see,
gosh, yeah.
See how wild we can get here. But
Dude,
yeah, dude, I imagine you guys.
I was scrolling through. I was scrolling through YouTube yesterday. I saw Rogan's podcast with Trump.
Yeah,
it was getting 1 million views an hour.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Do you see it already got shadow banned on YouTube now?
No way.
Yeah, if you go and search it, you can't find it until you search his
Really?
channel. Yeah.
Huh. Wow, that's wild.
It was growing.
I've never seen somebody get. I mean, it makes sense that would be the one that got that many views, but that's an incredible amount of views per hour.
I think it was 3 hours in. It had 32 million.
What?
How much money do you think he made on that?
Oh, you mean enough for a few mil?
Yeah,
maybe.
He could fund an Elite Series angler or two.
It's at 39 million views.
Think about it. Here's that what?
It's at 39 million views at the moment.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't 32. It was 23. Who knows? Either way, that many views. You got to think that's 3 hours long. That is a lot of YouTube money right there.
That is, yeah. They did all right. I don't know why they'd want to ban something like that.
Well, yeah, we won't.
I mean, I get it, but like,
I'm wearing my crappie bass 24 shirt for a reason.
I love it. Yeah. I love that shirt.
Yeah, dude, it's Ugly Stick has this cool deal of Fish on America, and through work, whatever, I got to get my hands on some of these, and I'm like, I love this Fish on America. I'm all about it. Like, I think it's a great timing, and the crappie bass it's just cool. I mean, I wish it was bass crappie, but yeah.
Yeah. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah, we'll take it. It's better than what we got. That's for dang sure. Dude, so I got one last thing for you here, but Andy, you got anything else for Bryant before we let him go?
No, I'm good with Bryant.
I appreciate
it. He's like, nah, screw you, man.
Making it easy on me.
And he's like, oh crap, I got caught off guard.
I was looking at the Joe Rogan Trump thing, and like it's just like an ever-long list of things, and I'm like, oh gosh.
I gotta say real fast, one thing that was, you will go on a rabbit hole if you go down that show. My wife and I tried to listen to it. We made it through 2 hours, but
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, not bad. Sean Ryan, do you listen? If you haven't, that's actually a really cool one. Sean Ryan is former military, has on a bunch of really, like, I guess for lack of a better term, just really badass people that aren't afraid of telling it how it is and telling the truth about stuff. But he said basically how this is like the future, like what we saw happen with the Trump Rogan thing. this is the future of media, because sure, so-and-so, any podcast guest, like you can come on here and lie about how you won at the US Open. But at the end of the day, what it's forcing to do is we have Bryant Smith on for an hour, uncut live, and he has to talk for an hour. There's no script. There's no notes, whatever. Like, sure, there could be misinformation. Yes, you'll never get rid of misinformation, but it's what he said. It set a precedent now for our government and politicians that basically they have to be on these forms of media. They are the new true forms of media, and it's like killing off these traditional forms. And I'm like, preach it, bro. I'm all about this. Like, it's cool. Sorry, I had to.
You got to adapt to it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Well, dude. So what I wanted to ask you, I pitched this to the boys as they wrapped up with Easton and Nick about the Mount Rushmore of college bass fishing, and I'll pitch it to you. Who's your Mount Rushmore of anglers from the West?
Let's see. So Aaron Martin's for sure. Skeet, Gary Dobbins.
Like it. It's a big last one.
Say Mike Folkstad.
I do not know that name.
He's won the Open a couple times. He's just a West Coast legend. Absolute legend. Catches them everywhere he goes. He does. I don't know if he fishes much anymore, but he's one of the ones that, if you're from the West, you knew who Folkstad was. He is the man.
Okay.
How many Opens did Gary win? It was 3.
He just won one. He just won one. Yeah. Folkstad actually beat him out on one of them, I think, if I remember the story right. So, yeah, Gary just won one of them.
How many did Folkstad win?
I think he's at 2 or 3. Yeah. He was good. And he won, Angler of the Years, but like he had an incredible career. Dave Glebe would be a good one too to put up there. He won more boats than Gary did, actually. A couple Cadillacs, an RV, like he won a bunch of stuff. D. Thomas, he'd be a hard, like the list would go, go on and on now that they're popping into my head. D. Thomas, he'd be a good one. Like it'd be hard to really narrow it down now that I start thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then you have like your swim bait guys that like cultivated the swim bait world.
Yeah. Butch Brown. Guys like that. Yeah. We got so many little niches around here. It's kind of, it's an interesting group of anglers that have come out of the West Coast, but we got some good ones.
That is one Andy that you just mentioned, Andy talking about swim baits, but Butch Brown is one I really, really would love to get on this show. I've tried some forms of communication, but if there's anybody out there that happens to have a connect with Butch Brown, tell them 2 idiots from the Northeast would love to talk swim baits to them.
I'm sure that'll go fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll go great. But
2 idiots.
2 idiots.
I'd be tuning in. I promise you that. That guy knows more about swim bait fishing than I think anybody else has ever thought about knowing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, man. I've talked to Deacon about this to a long extent. We're trying to figure out the right path because we want to do it the right way, and we think that there's definitely still I know there's some good podcasts out west, but I definitely think the anglers out west and the fishing community out west still needs more recognition, more being talked about, especially some of the things these anglers have done. I know Pangrak at BTL does a decent amount of it, but we still think that more can be done. I'll definitely be tapping into you of who's who to get on and learn more and actually do my homework and not be a jerk to my friends and not realize they're not in this year's classic.
It's all right. You can rub it in. I know Boomer set you up to do that. I know he did.
Yeah, I was paid off.
He's like, hey, remind that guy he didn't make the classic this year. Oh no, that's right up his alley.
Yeah, you're getting 2 less rods this year, Brian.
Yeah, but yeah, if you want to know, anybody to have on the show, man, we appreciate you guys that you include the West Coast. It's we got some great anglers out here, and we get overlooked every once in a while. So We appreciate it very much.
Well, we got some ideas in the hopper that we're once we can bring it to fruition, we're hoping, we really believe the people in the West will appreciate the hell out of it, because it'll be a consistent thing. So we'll leave it at that.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you more about it offline. But
Perfect.
yeah, man, we definitely want to tap into that more, because we want to be part of the movement to get the elites and less travel for Brian, more West Coast events. Like,
I'm in. I'm in.
At least let him be
I wouldn't
home
even
for
know.
like 2 tournaments.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know. You know what the funny thing would be too, is I would finally get my wish of a West Coast swing, and they would put it in the middle of the season, so I'd have to drive out and then drive back.
Yeah.
Usually what they do anyways, isn't it? Like when
Yeah.
they've historically had it.
Yeah. So
Well, I think it
hopefully
was COVID year. It was, I want to say it was it Delta, then Columbia River?
Yeah.
Or was it Clear, then the Columbia River? And then it was from Columbia River like 2 weeks later to Cayuga.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 out there. I think it was actually Delta, Clear, and Columbia, then to New York. Yeah.
Could you imagine a 6-day caravan of just all you guys driving to New York?
there'd be a lot of speeding tickets.
Yeah.
There would
Who do
be
you
a
think-
lot, like
Who
I'd
would
be able
be
to
your
watch the pins just around the country of speeding tickets from bass boats.
No. Who would be your first pick if somebody to get a speeding ticket in the elites?
The guy, Buddy Gross. That guy does. He's got one speed. It's to the floor. I've driven with him. You're trying to get somewhere right now, aren't you?
I mean, it makes sense. He drives a Bullet, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a fast.
Now,
Yeah,
I think.
That's
yeah. He's all about the speed, man. He's hilarious.
get-
Like we'll caravan because it's me and David Gaston and Buddy. We stay together and we'll go like in between a back to back and we'll follow each other. And Buddy he's gone. Like,
Yeah,
see ya.
boys.
Like, man, I didn't even have my map up. Now I got to go pull my map up and figure out where the heck I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's wild.
My money was going to be on like one of the Canadians or something like that. They were going to be the ones that fly.
I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that. They might get their kilometers and miles per hour mixed up and they're like, oh yeah, I'm only going 100 kilometers an hour now, or however it would work out. Would that make them slower or faster?
I know from some cops, like buddies that are cops, they are more prone to pull over like people with Canadian plates if they're going like 5 to 8 miles an hour over the speed limit, just because, you know, they're from a foreign country.
These damn Canadians.
That's awesome.
You just never know what you're gonna get, right? 8.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's awesome.
how fast is that going, eh?
Kilometers.
It's the most polite pullover in the world too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I'm so sorry, and all that good
Oh,
stuff.
sorry.
Sorry, bud.
I love it.
My dashboard doesn't convert to miles per hour. I don't know what it is.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Convert it to Timbits for me. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Well, dude, before we let you go, anything that the people should be on the lookout for in this off season, tuning in for? Have you got any trips, content, anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to, start the YouTube channel up. It's been on my to-do list. It's been something I've, needed to do. It's just a good avenue to promote all the companies I work with. So we're going to start getting that going this year. It might just be the West Coast stuff this coming year, but it should still be some good stuff. I think I have Jake talked into doing it with me. So if the fishing isn't that great, at least the bloopers should be pretty good.
You could have an entire blooper reel of just Boomer.
Yeah. I mean, him and me together basically is a blooper reel.
You know what you need? Here's what you need to do. With that, just have a constant mic on him. And I don't know if you've seen these
Hot mic him.
but then have you seen the stuff Alton Jones Jr. does? I think Tyler Anderson. What is it called? The
out of context stuff.
Yeah. That would be Boomer is the perfect candidate.
Oh,
for
he
something
is.
like that.
He is. Yep. He is.
Hey.
Like, what were you even talking about there? I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. There we go. That's what we'll do. We'll do it for the classic. We'll have him mic'd up and just set him up for bad scenarios.
Oh
That's
my
what
god.
Yeah.
You gotta mic him up and then give him 4 beers so he forgets that he's mic'd up, and then just
Oh
let
yeah.
him ramble.
It's on. It's on.
I love
I'll
how
go
the
steal his
football
rods again. That'll be great.
Oh, that was fantastic. He comes, he's like, "Where'd my rods go?" Like they're over there somewhere.
I remember when
He
he came
walked
down.
right
He's like,
past him.
"Where's Bryant?"
Yep. I mean, he knew it was me.
Just trouble, straight trouble.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, buddy, thank you so much for taking the time out. Big congrats again on a huge dub, the U.S. Open.
Long
Hopefully
overdue.
that momentum carries on into to next year, and where 2026 comes, we're having you on before the week before the Classic, and we'll do what our show does and brings you a dub.
I'm in. I appreciate you having me on, man. I always love coming on here talking to you guys. So thank you very much.
We appreciate you.
You always got a seat, and man, I think we'll have to I think we got to help you build a truck podcast studio for your 60,000 hours of truck time. It's just driving with Bryant, and that's just there you go. You got your own little podcast.
That'd be another blooper reel for sure.
Hey, it's more time to pump the brands, right?
I'm in.
But
I'm in.
that's
It's a great idea.
Well, buddy, appreciate you, and we'll be talking to you real soon.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, see you, homie. There you have it, Mr. Bryant Smith. I am the world's #1 jerk in Bryant's world right now.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, dude, I'm just used to him always being in the top 30. So I apologize on that front. That is another exhibit of me not doing all of my homework that I'm supposed to be doing. So that's my fault. But either way, so good to get him on here, man. Talking West Coast, talking a bunch of different things under the sun. And he's a great one to tap into because I really appreciate his mindset on a lot of this stuff. As much as a lot of this stuff can be in joking banter, I think his approach is very unique and very creative. And I don't think he's getting the credit yet for the anger he is just yet. I think it's coming though. So
one can only hope, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think this is a big step in there is the US Open. I think there's a lot of people, especially when you talk to the folks from out West, they're not surprised. Right. I know, like Deacon's comment for next year BAM tour is like, damn it, Bryant's fishing. He is well fishing for second next year. So it's cool to hear those different perspectives from people, but it's rightfully deserved, and I think it's only going to go up from here. But man, such a good show tonight. It was cool to get Nick and Ethan on as well. Ethan, here goes my lisp now, my late show lisp. Easton on the show. But it's cool to have a nice surprise. Nick was able to join as well, and hopefully those boys are driving safe down to Bambalamba. Man, great show tonight. Well, what was one of your bigger takeaways from tonight?
I do have a quick question for you, and this is kind of off the cuff, right? Do you think Easton's father played hockey in like the 90s and came up with his name from the Easton Hockey Twigs because of the Minnesota?
Hey, Easton, you got a brother coming. His name's Bauer.
His name is Bauer.
What is it, those memes where it's like,
remember the Reebok pump skates?
Yes, dude. I hated those things so much.
Terrible.
I was a mission guy. Until I joined the Bauer squad the last few years.
I had a pair of greats.
Oh yeah, those are the
not greats, graphs.
Yeah, the neon. Those are the shit.
Oh, yeah,
those are the OGs. But yeah, maybe I don't know. We can ask him next time we get him on the show. Be like, hey, is you dad a hockey guy? Just asking. Just curious.
just asking for a friend.
Yeah, it's simply for research purposes. Oh man! Speaking of hockey, both of our teams are sucking right now.
The whole Eastern Conference
sucks.
Is like equal.
It's a wild year so far in sports. Football.
The Bills are doing great, so I don't care.
Yeah, I better knock on wood. Yeah, Bills are doing phenomenal. the addition of Cooper and
Diggs tore his ACL, so now Houston's about to
crap the bed. Well, yeah, because Collins is still out.
Yeah.
So that
They have
means I
Tank
need to
Dell.
play Tank Dell this week, boy. Let's go.
Yeah, Jonathan Mechie. I might have to bring him up for my taxi squad in my one league just because he's their number two receiver at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to watch all these injuries happen. It's been the craziest year of injuries, I feel like, from star players that I've ever seen.
Get rid of turf. And the other issue, too, is like a lot of these guys don't practice anymore either, right? When you're not using your muscles and you're moving 110% in a game, bad things are going to happen because everything's tight.
That's what I said with the Eagles, man. A lot of it was they just had soft practices last year, and I think they changed all that. But it's not. Oh God.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see this monstrosity that Bryant is showing us with baits.
Are those poppers?
Hold on, Bryant. We're bringing you back in. He's got to show this. Oh my God.
Hold them
This
up.
is horrible.
Oh,
They're
good
all
luck.
red eye shafts.
Nice.
All of yeah.
Everywhere.
Whoops.
Not much hook rash on those there, Bryant.
Yeah. Well, that's because there's no paint on some of them. Look at this one.
Nice.
Doesn't have an eye.
Yeah.
That must be the Clear Lake favorite.
Oh, yeah. That's why we're breaking this out, because we're going to Clear Lake next week. Or no, on Friday. Oh, yeah. We're going to smash them. It's going to be
I'm
tough.
so
I'll send you
close.
pictures.
I'm
rub it
buying
in,
my
please.
plane ticket now.
Come on. I literally have to try. I tell everybody who I got my headphones fixed, by the way, so this is way better
nice.
than me just holding my phone. Yeah, I tell everybody who wants to come out to Clear Lake, just let me know. The airport
far
is
are you?
on the way.
How far are you from Clear?
Hour and 50 minutes. And I have to drive right past the airport.
See, I'm going to be in California for like a week at the beginning of January, so I might have to call you.
It's still good. It's still good that time of year, too. I guarantee it. We'll catch them.
I got to go to a wedding just outside LA. It's going to stink. Ugh.
That is actually really far away from me.
I figured.
Just because you're in California doesn't mean you're close. That's probably
I think
10 hours away.
Oh God, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe it's
But
6. Maybe I can swing it for 2 days, but probably not.
you can just get a flight from LA to Sacramento. It's like a $50 ticket.
Nice.
Come, I'll pick you up. We'll have a blast.
I don't know if the wife would appreciate that.
Hey, live while you're young, Andy.
Yeah.
Catch them on these. Like, we got
All right, Bryant. One last
See ya.
thing. We're gonna let you go here because we added you in for part 3 now of the show. Apparently.
Oh, part 3. I'm in.
One color Strike King Red Eye Shad, classic, amazing. I feel like the most universally loved trap besides the Bill Lewis, but one color Strike King Red Eye. What are you picking?
I know Bailey's in.
What is it? Andy?
That perch one.
Chartreuse perch.
Yeah,
that's
that
my favorite one.
Yeah, I like this one.
My man.
I think it's Rayburn Red.
That's mine. I love Rayburn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what I'm it's just
Are you the knocker or the original?
I like
Two-tap.
the knock two tap. Yeah, I like the 2-tap. Anything I can do that'll make it sound different than any other, lipless style bait. I always try to do something different. Like or if I
Bailey's
take the
different as well. He likes the loud rattly one.
What?
They all
The
work.
loud one. The original.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's already so late in the show. We're just losing all of our brain cell.
Part 3. Part 3's going great, guys.
Yeah, part 3's off to a hot start. Here we go. Go to Omnia. Go buy some Striking Red Eye Chats in Rayburn Red, and make sure you send a message to Strike King that you got it from Bryant Smith. There you go. That's our message.
Yeah. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Round it out.
All right, buddy. You good luck with that mess.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it.
You might want to change some treble hooks while you're at it.
All right.
Only a few rusty ones.
I think if we kept him in there, we would have been going till midnight over here.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Great week, great show. Appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. And obviously we'll be tuning in for the MP3s. It's going to be an interesting November because I'm going to be gone for basically half of it or work trip. So we're going to try to figure out how to get some shows produced and out for you guys. But just know that there is some cool stuff in the hopper, big announcements to be made here soon. But Andy, anything else for the folks before we wrap this sucker up?
No, finally got a fluke soft plastic jerkbait episode coming up Saturday with Mikey Balls. So that's a good one. Yeah, he dropped some knowledge.
Mikey always dropping knowledge, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
I told him 25 minutes and he went for 40. And I had to Mike, we're gonna get way over time here.
Hey, it's Mike, man. If you give him the floor, it's his floor. You let him do what he wants with it. Because the dude has a lot of teaching in him. So I don't think the Lure Lab folks are going to complain about more Mikey.
But it's a good episode.
If it was 40 minutes of Andy, they're like, all right, Captain, hey, look, we like you, but we like 20 minutes of you. We don't like
4 minutes of me is max.
4 minutes max. See, that's perfect. Perfect Lure Lab time frame right there. But yeah. Now I'm looking forward to that one, man. Make sure you guys tune in to the Lure Lab if you haven't already, especially if you're bait junkies, you're looking to get better with the baits you're already throwing. Looking to get your confidence level up on stuff you're not confident in yet. I know you had the stealth lures last week, that translucent A-rig, invisible A-rig as they call it. Something that's pretty dang cool, especially from a durability standpoint, something different. Make sure you guys check those out. And then I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else for the folks, Andy. I think next week we will have let me pull this up for you guys. It's actually still 50-50, so we won't even announce that. We'll let the next live show be a surprise for you guys, but nonetheless,
very nice.
Very nice. We have some cool stuff in the works that I'm really excited about. And I had another thing, but I totally forgot about it because I'm basically gonna pass out right now. Folks, appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.